Hey everyone, it's been about a month since my last update. Had a lot of growth take place over that time. Here's some of my indoor bonsai. I had planned on getting all of these outside, but I don't know if I'm gonna. They're doing really well, very happy. Especially the Ficus benjamina clump here. Good news is that the last couple of stalks finally sprouted here. I was wondering if they were gonna, and they did. So now we've got growth from every one of them. And it's crazy how fast and strong growers these are. If you look at these branches here, I mean, they thickened up big time. And I never even cut these back, ever. So the fact that they thickened up so much without growing out far in length kind of surprised me. But I really like how that one turned out. And if you don't know from previous videos, that was about 7 feet tall, and it had no growth at that height. It was, growth started probably a good 3.5 feet up. So over time, I cut it back and let it back bud, and then I finally just hacked it off, and it grew everywhere. Here's a couple of cuttings from that tree when I originally groomed it when it was 7 feet tall. They're doing pretty good. And this was a cutting from this. And it's crazy how vigorous that was. It's growing faster than the parent. Yes? My Schefflera probably needs to be cut back. But let's head outside real quick. And my Norfolk Island pine is, it's really happy. It's growing strong. So that one's about 7 feet tall now. And the plum tree, I'm just gonna let that. It's a little bit of a sight for sore eyes. I'm gonna let that just grow. It was completely hacked back by my neighbor in the winter time, so I'm just gonna let it grow the full season. I was thinking about trimming a couple of these back that are just getting a little too long and wild and crazy, and develop branching the first year. I think it's done with its first flush of growth, so there might be a second. So I might do that, but the original plan was just to let it grow the entire season, and then this winter go ahead and select all the branches that I want and don't want, and cut them back in spring or early spring. Jade Forest number 1. Jade Forest number 2. And the wind has been like completely crazy, so this has been tough, especially this planting here. It's definitely not exactly how I originally had it, but I'm thinking about turning them all into one large forest, and all of those came off of this this main one here, which it's really happy. for a little while it kind of got mad when I transitioned it outside, and it was battered by the wind, and it's doing good though. Now I can see the tops growing strong again, and out here in the sun it's getting some nice compact growth. So this I've never done anything with, so I've been growing it out. And my crabapple tree got aphids really bad. So I treated that with soap and water, and it seems to have stopped. It's yellowing and it's anger, so it's kind of back on recovery. And this weird experiment that I had, it died, but it did send up a shoot here. This is a silver birch. So it did send up a shoot, so I do have a nice little tree growing there. I'll eventually cut this off out of the pot, and that is my chokecherry tree. It's just super happy, thriving. I think I'll be cutting it for the first time this season here pretty soon. Just getting some of these long side branches here under control and keeping it a little more symmetrical. And here's another one, and you can see how it kind of does that. Like this branch grew out, it's super vigorous. Look at the size of the leaf on this little one. Falls down under its own weight, and then it perks back up, and kind of, you can see it kind of mimicking that one. Yeah, I like those a lot. And then that is my poplar. The tree just looks amazing. It's got a terrible trunk, really terrible trunk, but I really like the tree, and it's got these really nice small leaves. And look how, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but yeah, I think you can. They're really small. So I like that one a lot. I've just got to, figure out if there's anything I can do with this trunk. Maybe cut a little bit off and see if it grows over. I think this one is a lost cause. I don't think it's real suitable for bonsai, but regardless, I really don't, have a place for it. I don't think it's a good yard tree, but it's looking pretty happy. It's got some nice, good green growth on it. I'll just give it time and just see. It doesn't have to be pretty or perfect. And then the dogwood. Really old bark on there. And I only have 2 things to cut on this, so I'm gonna cut this here. And then I am gonna cut this main big branch off down here that's just hanging out of the pot, and I think that'll kind of, center the whole thing, not make it too tall. That'll be pretty nice. And this was the other silver birch, the one that I thought wasn't going to make it, and then it did. This whole tree died here, but it did send up 2 shoots, so it's doing good, hanging on. Just gonna give it time. I don't know if I'm gonna cut that dead one off or not, so I'll just leave a while, because you can always cut it off later, can't put it back on. So, and then this is pear seedling from this year. This is apple. Finally got all of my seedlings planted in their own pots. Another pear, and pear. Now, these were just battered by the wind, so they really thickened up their trunks, even though that they're not even very tall in height. So that was kind of cool. I just kind of left them outside, and they were just getting battered around, and then I just saw them quickly start to thicken. So that's a pretty cool experiment. yeah, so there it is. Just a quick update for you. Thank you very much for watching, and stay cool.